¿cómo estás? Yo soy Mitch, la morra que lee. Bienvenida a este canal. Por si nunca habéis estado por aquí, acá hablamos de libros y cultura. Y en esta ocasión, como podrás estar viendo por YouTube el video, vengo a introducirte lo que probablemente va a ser una de las entrevistas que más me emociona poder contarles al respecto. Y es que ahorita en la Feria de Guadalajara tuve no solo el privilegio de poder presentar a Julia Quinn y la saga Bridgerton a toda la audiencia mexicana que estaba en la Feria de Guadalajara, también tuve unos 5 o 6 minutitos para entrevistarla y un disclaimer pequeño enorme, una disculpa por mi inglés. Yo estaba pensando, tengo ante mí a la diosa del romance histórico y yo estaba muy nerviosa, entonces si de repente mi English Speak English no es lo mejor, una disculpa. Y pues nada más quería decirles, voy a estar subiendo poco a poco las entrevistas que hice en la Feria de Guadalajara porque logré platicar con varias autoras que la neta admiro profundamente y pues nada, vamos a ello. Hola, yo soy Mitch, somos MorraQueLee y estamos con Julia Quinn, la autora de la saga Bridgerton. How are you today, Julia?
I'm great. So happy to be here.
Thank you so much for your time. So, a few of your fans have a few questions on Instagram. So, most of them are very curious to know which is your favorite Bridgerton brother and why.
Pass.
You
I
pass?
love them all. I love them all.
Oh, okay.
I have no favorites.
There's a few people too who are curious about where do Queen Charlotte's history came from. Did you always have in mind the kind of love story that King George and Queen Charlotte had?
So, to be completely honest, the story for Queen Charlotte, well, obviously she's a real person in history, but the story for Queen Charlotte as done on the show and in the novel was Shonda's idea. She wrote, the way we did the book was she wrote 6 scripts and then gave them to me and I turned them into a novel. So I didn't really come up with the story. I got to really flesh out the characters and let you see what they're thinking, but she really came up with the story.
Okay. When I come to think the two of you working together, of course, Queen Charlotte had to come up in such a good way. So I'm really grateful for it. Another question that it's really repeating is what do you identify with the Bridgerton family? Is there something that the family has that you identify with?
I think just the way that all the siblings interact, and I think that's part of what made the series so popular, even before the show, is that the way that they interacted and bickered and teased but loved was very realistic for a lot of people, and that really comes from my family as well.
Okay, thank you. I have another question. As for the TV show, do you think, do you have a favorite character that has been developed in a way that you have said like, oh my god, this is the exact way I envision this character to be like?
No, because they're all a little bit different, and they should be. Because television is different than books, and things that work well in television don't necessarily work well in books and vice versa. And so that's what I really love about the adaptation, is that it's not word for word, and it's not exactly the books. It's something similar, but still its own thing. And so I love that people can read and watch and get different things out of it, and if they complement each other. So nothing is like dead on, but it's all very still true to it. I feel like all the characters are very true to what I wrote in the books, even if some of them have some new plots.
Oh, I'm a huge fan of the TV show. I actually had the chance to interview Corey and India
a
few months ago.
They're so nice.
They're so lovely.
They're
yeah.
really nice, yeah.
They have such a good chemistry. When I was interviewing them, I was like, oh my god, I can feel them through the screen and all the energy. Just to start to wrap the interview real quick, what is the most interesting you like about the Bridgerton era that you like to show on your books?
I think I just love the art of conversation. I think people were a little bit more deliberate with the words that they chose. It just works for me. I love that aspect of it. I love courtship through conversation, so it works really nicely for me.
Okay, thank you. So the last question that comes from me.
I think I know what it might be, but go on.
No. I won't ask about the TV show because I know a lot of people have.
I know everybody wants to know when season 3 is coming, and I don't know. And, I mean, if I did know, I couldn't tell you.
Sure.
But I honestly don't know.
Do you have in mind, or is there any certain project that you would like to work with Violet and everyone's love story?
Oh, well, there actually is. I've written a little, it's called Violet in Bloom, and it's a novella that you can get in the book The Bridgerton's Happily Ever After. And it's not so much a romance novel as Violet's life story, but you see her courtship with Edmund in it. So I have written some of it already.
Okay, just to wrap the whole interview, I would like to know,
can you give us your top 3 reads of the year? Like the best
Oh my
books you've
gosh.
read so far.
Oh gosh, I was completely blank out when this happens. I read a really good book called The Scandalous Confessions of Lydia Bennet Witch.
Okay.
It was really wonderful, and that's a retelling of Pride and Prejudice from Lydia's standpoint, and she's a witch. And this is, I don't usually like witchy books, but it was fabulous. It was absolutely fabulous. I loved that. I really enjoyed Lucy Score has a series out.
Okay.
And I can never remember the order of the books, but it's like Things We Left Behind, Things We Never Got
The
Over.
blue, the pink, and the purple one, right?
Yes, the Knock 'em Out series. I really quite liked that.
Two
But you know,
recommendations.
I always, on my Facebook page, I always recommend a historical romance every Tuesday. And sometimes it's books that are on sale, and sometimes it's books that I read or things that are coming up. So that's a good place to go.
Okay, that's really nice of you. Well, thank you so much for your time. And no se olviden de conseguir sus libros, ya están disponibles en español y próximamente la tercera temporada de la saga Bridgerton. Adiós.
Adios.